First of all, when they walk in, they would go to the wall with all the teacups displaying there, colorful, very colorful, and also it's combined with the Eastern and Western style. There's one teacup, it's like a baseball size, it's called a mug of tea. And then there's some other teacups, some of them they made by paper. Mm-hmm. One teacup is even made by, it's like this artificial materials, and one teacup was broken and being glued together by artist Lolly. So it's just all those interesting objects. Some things become object, but most of the time, all the teacups you can drink tea. But very profoundly is everybody offered 2 servings of tea, which is their favorite kind of tea. Mm-hmm. So when the show was over, first of all the teacups traveled to China, and I collaborated with the 13 tea master. Only that tea time only lasts for 45 minutes. You can really call that a pop-up tea, because right after 45 minutes, everything is gone. And even including teacups I brought from Houston, from that tea area exhibition show, most of them, they're gone too, because in trade with the new gift. That's what I put in here on the wall, you'll see. This is only just part of it. It's not every teacups in here. So then the leaves you see, the artwork you see behind me, those are all the tea I have been drinking over in the period of time. It's like 36 days in the healing time, physical healing. And so every day I drink tea, and one day probably have a friend come to visit. So the person's name is also on this page. So I call it my book of tea. So those 36 pages of a book of tea inspired me to do this new Tea Tao project. Mm-hmm. And as you see, the table I put it in here is for people to get together. So it's about the togetherness, families, relationships, and friendships. And so all the tea leaves you see in the middle of the table, and those are the leftover tea from tea area from 5 years ago. I always saved it, and I know it will become a new part of elements for the new project. And so I inspired by the Zen story, and that story is about an old master who's wandering around in this in this water stream, and then cross the stream, there's a young person calling him, said, Master, may I ask you, how can I cross this creek? The master looked around, wandered around, back and forth, saying, young man, don't you already in the other side? So I just think it's such a beautiful story, because we as a human, we always want to know more, our curiosity. But the matter of fact is the Zen idea is about enjoying the moment. So tea drinking is about enjoying the moment. Mm-hmm. So, and also this project will lead to the next project, which I'm already meditating going to do it. It's called the Book of Tea. So this book of tea probably will be about preparing time would be about 6 years. So that's what I'm thinking to do. And also with this Tea Tao, I'm taking pictures of all my tea guests. And so the book will have a 1 page of the actual tea time being taken place with a photograph of people. And the next page is the tea marks made from the tea drinking from that moment. Mm. I'm wearing this outfit. You see, in China, this is considered as the tea master's outfit.
Oh, okay.
It's all used fabric and nature stained. Mm-hmm. And so when I went to this tea master, who actually in as one of the 13, mm-hmm. And so I said I comment on this clothes, and she take it off in the back room. She says, Weihong, take it to America with you.
That's so neat.
Yes. So let's have some black tea, because this is in the morning. And, oh, you both need to pick up a teacup first. Go to the wall, pick up a teacup you like.
My goodness.
First of all, I want you to read the tea leaves. Look at how dainty that is. So elegant. So, they had to pick this tea leaves from very early spring sprout, when the leaves just come out still young. You see how small it is. Yes. Can you show it to Forrest? And then, of course, they have very limited edition every year. And I received the number 50th edition. You see, even with the heart in there. Because Forrest always work with heart.
Where's tea grown in China?
Most of the time, it's always in the south of China. In south.
Okay.
South of Yangtze River. So this tea I received in a very playful way, because I was traveled to South China with a tea master. I happened to run into all the tea master there, challenge each other. So it's like comparing whose tea is the best. They always bring tea and the cup or a new teapot they have. So that's how they get together, and in their leisure time. So that day when I was there, they were challenging each other. They wanted to, kind of figure out whose black tea is the most original region, original place for the tea, harvesting black tea. And so then this lady said that it's my place, my village, and the other man said, no, it's my village. So they just couldn't, to prevail from it. So then this man says, then show us, have a taste. She says, it's already September. She says, it only harvests every year in April, and so I won't be able to have it until next year. This year product is already finished. It's all gone. So then next year I happened to be with them again. So after we tasted different tea, and I told this lady, I said, it's not because you're a woman, I kind of got on your side, but yes, indeed, your black tea has the most unique flavor, and also so elegant, in its own way. So ever since then, every year she sent me a small bag of tea, because it's a very limited production. I'm so honored to, to share this with you. Chin chin. Chin chin.
Alright.
Yes. Chin chin in Chinese, kiss kiss.
Kiss.
But the French means cheers, right? So this is for a tea tasting cup.
Oh, okay. Like when you taste wine and you
Yes.
have. That's good.
Glad you can make it. Glad I could make it.
So,
I need a little tray.
when you have tea tastings, they're not at all ritualized like you would do in
Yes, it's
Japan.
Yes,
more
it's not
a-
like with the Japanese tea tasting. It's that's
it's
more
not a
performance
tasting.
related.
Yes,
It's very meditative and no talking. You just watching and the mindfulness and enjoying that moment. But Chinese tea is tea time. Usually, I just call it tea time. It's tasting tea and have a nice conversation.
Oh, excellent.
And also, it's in the very traditional format. Is every family, when you go to visit, or you even go to visit a company office, or go to somebody's studio, they always serve you tea. This is oolong tea from Taiwan, high mountain oolong tea.
How does this differ from other teas?
All tea from the same plant. It's the way how they making it, like how they making the process of it.
Oh, all right.
Yes, like oolong tea, usually it is only 50% fermentation, and you need kind of finishing you drinking it within 3 years, but you also have to seal it real good.
It's a nice pot too. I like the narrow spout on that pot.
Yes, this usually is for coffee. You see, and then look, then you need to take this out right away. See. Even though you see it's almost look like just water, but it had a very strong aroma. And the reason I'm doing this is like all even. The taste color is all become even.
Okay.
So you see, the first is you hold. You see this 2 finger to hold the lip, and then the middle finger to touch the bottom
To support it.
to support it.
I can't do left.
It's okay. And then the rest of the finger, you see, wrapped up like a round shape. You don't do that. You see, Forrest is doing like a British way now. Hold it all in. You see all the, yes. Then that's the manner. It's like to learn to be humble.
That's almost like a yogic hand position too. Like doing the.
And then you can use your tongue to do this. And then was born 1 year before Cultural Revolution started. So the parents, my parents, they all sent to education camp. So they won't be able to stay with the kids. So nobody taking care of us.
That's like a vacation for the parents.
It's easy for to say.
Or maybe for the kids, for the.
No. It's, oh gosh,
That's
you wouldn't
horrible.
believe how horrible. It's like they taking family apart.
I know.
Even my parents.
Like down south?
Yeah, even my parents, they cannot be together. They all divided. They only allow them to visit once a month.
The parents can't be together with each other.
My parents, my father and the mother, they cannot even allow to be together.
Horrible.
They only allow to visit one weekend with the family. That's it. So it is a very devastating time.
So as a couple, they couldn't be together.
No, yes, because the communists,
That was nuts.
they are like putting you in the organizational, you have no freedom whatsoever.
Well, I remember after Tiananmen Square in Houston, there were so many protesters outside
was
the
out there.
Chinese
Yes,
consulate.
I was there that night.
Were you?
Yeah. And I think Buddha saved me.
You know,
1 year before that, I traveled to Tibet. I believed there's more power above us as a human. Because as communists, they train you, brainwash you, thinking the only a party you can believe it is communist, what they tell you to say or to do. And so not only until when I went to Tibet, I realized that there's more power above us. And I sense this beauty with nature, and I feel like I'm being transformed. I started seeking for the spiritual journey. So then when I returned, I started learning, practicing Buddhism, doing meditation, and find a teacher who's teaching me and several other people. And
well, that
so
was subversive.
then the night before the gun shooting is exactly 12 o'clock in the midnight. All of a sudden, I had this pounding headache. I mean, I'm kind of person, I never have headache. I have this pounding headache, and just for a second, I saw people around me all turn into skeleton.
Into what?
Into skeleton, all green color, ghosty look, skeleton. And it's not because of that scared me, but I just about fainted because of the headache. So I immediately grabbed a friend who stand next to me. I said, you need to take me back. So we walked 15 minutes back to our campus, the Central Academy of Fine Arts.
You were how old?
I'm 23. And so as soon as I returned to my dormitory, I just fainted. And 5 minutes went by, I hear the gun shooting. And in the beginning, I thought it's a firecracker because it had that sound like a Chinese Spring Festival firecracker. And but when I realized it's gone, and I went so wild, so I ran out, because of this just really anger and emotion. But meanwhile, already, because there's a major hospital right next to our campus, people just bleed and blood and just like carry or bicycle or flat platform and taking to the hospital. Still there as a young, hot blood young person, I probably will be in the front to be shot.
Yeah.
So, but that also is like my fate brought me to Houston, because since we graduated that year, the communists, they don't allow, the government, they don't allow any students graduate that year to stay in Beijing. so they kick us all out.
Well, that
And
was
my professor is very supportive, and so he offered me one of the only 3 college professor job in South China at Normal University, become teacher in the college. And I almost don't want to go, and I was planning to stay in Beijing, and what they call the black, how to say, it's like black identity, means you have no identity if you stay in Beijing without a job.
Okay.
Your certificate will be all
No value.
voided, no value. So I almost just going to become part of that with my other artist friends. But my mother persuaded me and said you had to go. The reason I don't want to go to Guangzhou, because we call that city is like a culture desert. It's all about the business, there's no culture, so I don't want to go. But I'm glad I went, because I also do not want to be a teacher, but without knowing, my parents, they both teachers, so the teaching is already in my gene. So I really enjoy my teaching.
It came
and enjoying
naturally.
the beautiful campus. It's like a rural place far away from the center city. So I continue practicing meditation. And after 2.5 years, I met my husband.
Oh,
So Paul,
cool.
this is
There?
his base.
You met him?
Yes, I met him
where you were
there.
teaching?
Yeah.
He was working down there or traveling?
Yeah, he's working. He only arrived there for 1 month before he met me. He works for oil industry company.
Oh.
In the Zen Buddhism, we also believe the beauty is just the moment, and you really enjoy that moment, because nothing would long last. But as a human being, we also try to striving for the way of how to keep things permanently. So I really believe a digital world, photograph of the digital work, and also the tea marks, this will long lasting. So enjoying the tea, and also this become the art, the visual results. I think that's what helped the moment, the memory to be recorded for a long time to come.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ching Ching.